Hi guys, and welcome to All About the Philippines. Now if you're saving for your next trip to the Philippines and you're struggling a little bit or you're not really sure how to do it, I'm going to tell you here some key tips to saving for your trip to the Philippines. So stay tuned. Here we go guys. Planning ahead is the key to achieving your goals and saving for your trip to the Philippines. Now if we think about it in advance, you're thinking, oh, I've got to get $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, whatever your budget is. That can be quite daunting, especially if you're not on a big wage. If you're only on an average wage where you can only save a smallish amount a week, then it becomes quite difficult to really even think about going to the Philippines. But the advantage with the Philippines is once you've got your airfares paid and your accommodation sorted, the rest of the trip is quite inexpensive compared to other Western countries. So you can live quite well over there, quite cheaply over there. The food is quite inexpensive. The travelling around from place to place is quite inexpensive. Even the occasional aeroplane ride is quite inexpensive. So catching jeepneys, taxis, buses, all those sorts of things are very affordable once you're there. And as I say, food is very affordable as well. So entrance fees into certain things, if you want to go and have a look at certain things, they're relatively cheap as well. Buying clothes over there is relatively cheap. So once you're there, you're pretty well set. So it's about setting your budget that you want, whether you're a backpacker and you're going to stay in the hostels, whether you want to live in a bit more comfort in a 2, 3, 4, 5-star hotel, whatever your budget is. I'm going to tell you some tips around that and how you can do it. So here we go. So as I say, planning well ahead is key. So you want to plan this at least 6 months in advance, maybe even more, maybe up to 12 months in the early initial planning stages. That way you can break your trip down into sections, into small attainable goals. So let me explain what I mean by breaking it down into small goals. The most expensive thing you're going to pay for, as we said, is your airfares. So at least 3 or 4 months before you want to go to the Philippines, book your airfares. So prior to that, you might be checking the online comparison airfare sites, which I recommend is a good way to find good online fares. If you do it from far enough out, you can actually end up finding some pretty good deals. I know that when I was going on my last trip with the family to the Philippines, we were actually searching 12 months in advance, and I think it was about 6 or 7 months out where I actually saw some really good fares, which are around about $700 for each of us from where I live in Dubbo, Australia to Manila, which is a really good deal. Prior to that, they're over $1,000 each. So ended up saving for the three of us nearly $1,000 just by planning in advance and being patient and checking regularly until I saw that one really good fare that I wanted to grab, and I grabbed it. So, and what that does as well, it allows you to save up just for your airfare. You don't have to save up for your accommodation as well. So once you've got your airfare, you've paid for it, that's out of the way. And that then gives you the incentive to keep on saving for your accommodation and whatever else you're going to need. I recommend booking your accommodation about a month out. That's if you want to book your accommodation. Not everyone wants to book their accommodation. They're happy to go there and find places once they're there. But if you want to be a little bit organised, a bit like what I do, then definitely book it around about a month out. That gives you, from the time you've paid for your airfare ticket, so which is 3 or 4 months out from your trip, you still got 2 or 3 months to save for your accommodation, which in the Philippines should be plenty of time. The accommodation there you might be seeking could be anywhere from $20 a night up to $60 or $70 a night, let's say. And for $60 or $70 a night you can get very good accommodation, quite comfortable. It just depends, as I say, what your budget is. Either way, that will give you time to save, that 2 or 3 months. And it keeps you focused on attaining your goals to go to the Philippines. And by breaking it down into little chunks, makes it so much easier. So the next thing is your travel insurance. Look, guys, you must have travel insurance. That's my opinion. You must have it. You can't afford not to have it. If you can't afford your travel insurance, then don't go, because you've got to have that peace of mind just in case anything happens. And with travel insurances, you can get great prices online if you check around. Always compare. And look, the same for the accommodation and the airfares. As I say, check around on the comparison sites, such as Holiday Escape Travel, which is my own comparison website, and I'll guarantee you there you'll save money. I've got so many people in our community here on YouTube that will vouch for that as well. They'll all say the same thing, that they've done checks or they've actually purchased flights through there and actually saved a lot of money. So that's one to check. If you want to check that out, I'll put that link in the description. So be sure to check that out before you purchase anything. By that stage, you should have your airfares, accommodation sorted. You've also got your travel insurance sorted. Now, don't forget vaccinations, guys. Some people say, oh, I would never get vaccinations, etc. But going to places like the Philippines, there is a risk of things like hepatitis B, typhoid, that sort of thing. So if you want to get your vaccinations, then you've got to plan that around about 3 months out, because with the hepatitis B shots, it's over a period. You get 3 shots over a period of about 2 months or so, and it's got to have time to work once before you go. So they say about 3 months out, see your GP and get that organised. So don't forget that if you want to get your vaccinations. So that's the basis of the time frames you'll need to save up your money and when to pay for your fares, your accommodation, etc. So more importantly, trying to get the extra money to be able to do this and achieve this is another thing. You might have a job that doesn't pay a huge wage and you think, well, I can never save enough money. So obviously there's some tips around what you can do to get that extra money as well. So we can look at where can we cut down in our budget. Do we need to get takeaway once, twice, 3 times a week? Because that's automatic savings. You work out $30 a week over a period of 3 to 6 months. So it works out there's around about $400 or $500 right there that could almost cover one person's airfare, or could easily cover the accommodation for the time you're in the Philippines. So that's just by cutting out on takeaway foods for the 6 months prior to going to the Philippines. Another alternative, of course, is to get a second job, or a cash in hand job, maybe a few hours a night. Now that might come to say $100 a week. Now that $100 a week over a period of say 6 months is over $2,000. So there's airfares and accommodation just in that alone. And as I say, once you've paid for your airfare and accommodation, then you don't need a real lot in the Philippines. Now, when you plan your savings, put it into a separate bank account so you're not tempted to touch it. Some people say you put it in a holiday account where you can't touch it until the time you're going to go. Look, I think you've got to have some discipline yourself about things. I have, in my account, I have 2 separate accounts in one. I can access it any time I want to, but you've got that goal. So you put it away from your normal savings account, and you have your holiday account, and you just leave it there, and that's where you're adding up. And when you're watching it go up and up and up, you're seeing yourself get closer to that Philippines trip. That's more than enough incentive to keep going. If you want to do it with a holiday account, where if you're the sort of person that gets tempted very easily to draw the money out, then go and see your bank about a holiday account where you can't touch it until you're about to go on your trip. Or if you're like me, just have a separate account to your normal account, call it a holiday account, whatever, and go with that. Now, another tip I've got, guys, is whatever your budget is, so whatever you think your trip is going to cost you in total, including your airfares, your accommodation, your vaccinations, your travel insurance, your spending when you're there, your travel around the Philippines while you're there, your food while you're there, whatever you think is going to cost you, budget an extra 20% on top of that. That's what I would suggest, about 20% extra, because there's always things that will come up. And look, when you're in the Philippines, you don't want to get caught short in the end. So if you're better to bring money back with you than not have enough when you're there. So that's a really important tip. So budget 20% above what you think it's going to cost. And really, guys, just stay focused. Stay focused on what you want to do. Put a picture on your fridge of the Philippines and where you really want to go. Keep checking out these vlogs on YouTube, not just my vlogs, but anyone's vlogs on YouTube. to the places you might want to go to, and start writing that list down. So really start to get yourself excited, a few months out, 6 months out, and achieve each of these goals. And every time you achieve one of your smaller goals, paying the airfare, paying the accommodation, etc., you're getting that much closer to going to the Philippines and having a wonderful time there, which you will do. If you've never been to the Philippines, believe me, once you go, you're going to want to come back again and again and again. It really is a magical place, and it really does hook you. There's so much to see and do in the Philippines. There's, whether you like the history side of it, going to see places like Intramuros, a Spanish element to it, or whether you like to go and lay on the beautiful beaches, Puerto Galeras, Coron, all those sorts of places. Go scuba diving, go down to Oslob and go in the water with the whale sharks, right through the tropical rainforest, the peace and tranquility of the provinces. No matter what it is you want to do there, guys, you will have an unbelievable time. The expense factor compared to going to a lot of other countries is minimal. And to add, the people, the friendliness of the people there, you hear it all the time. I know it sounds a bit cliche, but it's really true. The friendliness of the people there is what makes the Philippines such a fantastic place to go. So if you've never done it, if you've never gone to the Philippines, I've given you a bit of a blueprint there on how to get the money to go. Follow that and you'll get there, and I'm sure you'll have a fantastic time too, guys. So that's pretty much the video. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Of course, share the video around with anyone who might be thinking about going to the Philippines. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell to get more videos on a regular basis. And I appreciate you watching, guys. I appreciate all your support. Take care and bye for now.